Hello racing fans, and a warm welcome to our Gallop TV preview show for our first race meeting of the week. It's the last day of the month, 31st of October. On Tuesday we're at Turffontein, a midweek meeting, and we're on the inside track, and we got 8 races carded for that race meeting. I see the first race begins at 12:30, which will kick off the exotics, the bar pot. And then the big one, the pick 6. It was really nice to see a lot of winners over the weekend at Turffontein with that carryover. And that's at 13:40, 20-2. Race number 3 will kick off that pick 6. As always, we welcome Alistair Cohen onto the show. And I'm sure he has his thoughts on what has just been an awesome weekend for South African sport. And he was a busy man. He called at Turffontein on Saturday, and he called yesterday at, I say yesterday, meaning Sunday, at Hollywoodbets Durbanville. Whilst it was a busy weekend for you, Alistair, I mean, you couldn't just stop smiling, I'm sure, throughout the weekend, wherever you were, because it was one of those most memorable days in sport if you were a South African, and to win that Webb Ellis for the 4th time. I mean, I know you love the sport as much as I do. I mean, it was just tremendous to watch, wasn't it?
Oh, Deez, you know what? We're on our own now. The only 4-time winners of the Rugby World Cup. That just feels special. That feels good. That hits so well. I'm on the back of no sleep this weekend. It's been absolutely sensational. It's been epic. It's been brilliant. It's been memorable. But, you know, that Saturday night, obviously, just overcoming the All Blacks. I mean, I was prepared to go to sleep at halftime. 14 men for the All Blacks. The bomb squad still to come on. There was never in doubt. But, you know, just a credit to the All Blacks for making a game of it, and you know, great respect to them. And we came away on the other side, and we world champions for another 4 years. Enjoy the ride, because it's cliche, Nelson Mandela's great speech, you know, sport unites a nation. There's nothing that unites us more than the Springboks. And you know what? Weirdly, for the first time in 2 decades, I think the Proteas have half a chance as well. They got India to beat, obviously, but it's the best Proteas team I've seen at a World Cup in many editions.
Yeah, we've all had our discussions, and you know, I just want to touch on, you know, shortage to the line and how many times it goes against you. Sometimes it goes with you. Photo finishes. And sometimes, you know, you'd rather run last than lose by a short head. I say this because all 3 matches, when you look back now, Alistair, that quarterfinal, the semi-final, and the final, we just had something in our favour, didn't we, to win by a point in each of those games?
Yeah, the stars are aligned. I don't buy the argument that the referees were on one side, or that the World Rugby, the body that obviously governs rugby, have it in for South Africa. I don't necessarily buy that, and all the people that have those theories that there is some sort of vendetta against the Springboks. We might have got a little bit lucky against France. We might have got away with murder against England, but it was meant to be, Deez. The Springboks, Rassie Erasmus and his plan, the players. Peter Steph du Toit's performance in the World Cup final was absolutely heroic. Handré Pollard, although not playing all the minutes of the World Cup, being a late call-up, didn't miss a kick. It's that BMT, it's that will to win, it's the experience and knowing how to win, which I think had a lot to do with South Africa getting across the line. And as you say, I mean, how many great horses have we seen in our time that you can put in a maiden plate, they'll win unconvincingly by a length, and you'll put them in a grade 1 and they'll win by a narrow margin as well. You know what? I'd have those horses in my yard all day long.
Yep, and I think that is it. We'll leave it there. It's a deserved mention for a team that is just mind-blowing to know what they achieved in the Rugby World Cup. And I think Alistair summed it up when he says the stars are aligned and it is all written. That's what it is. Race number 1, Alistair. Let's get straight into it. 12:30. It will begin the bar pot. It's over 1,450 meters. And at the time of recording, I'll give you the horses in single figures. Number 1 is at 8-1. We got an odds-on shot to kick things off. And number 4, Mary's Green Light, Mike de Cox runner at 8-10. The runner I like here is number 6, Wonder I Do, Paul Peters runner at 33-10. And then it is double figures, the balance. How do we see the first leg of the bar pot? Is it a banker with number 4? Do we go with the market, or do we run for cover?
Yeah, you know, Deez, what makes me worry a little bit about number 4, Mary's Green Lights, is that she went off at 1-4 last time out and got turned over by Rugger Bugger in a race that looks probably more straightforward than what she runs in here, because I think Wonder Adu's got claims just like you do. But I'll take the stance that Mary's Green Light just needed that last run, and stepping up to 14.50 will help her cause. And Ati Fanny's back on board for Mike de Kock. The draw's obviously ideal, whereas Wonder Adu's draw is no good. Just, what I know about the Dawson run is interesting, with Mary's Green Light having finished 7.25 lengths to Just Be Lacquer, and Wonder Adu finishing 5.25 lengths to Canford Rose. Just Be Lacquer is a much better filly than Canford Rose. So just on that sort of logic, I'd say that number 4, Mary's Green Light, will have her chance to get out the maidens here. She probably should have last time. She didn't get to Rugger Lover in time, but I think this time she'll get the job done. If you are looking to make a bit of money, there's no harm in taking boxed exacts as 4 and 6. I don't think that'll do any harm and potentially set you up for the rest of the day. The PA's my suggested bet, but in the bar pot, I'd be prepared to bank in number 4, Mary's Green Light.
I like that. I like it a lot. 4 as a banker in the bar pot and the 6 for the exacta. I think that could be a nice way to start off your day if you're playing at Turffontein. Race number 2, place accumulator, 1,450 meters. It is a maiden plate. We go with the betting. And number 1 is at 8-1. 4 at 6-1. 5 at 7-1. 6 is now a scratching, Alistair. Just got that this morning. And I'm sure there will be adjustments, because I took down this betting without the scratching. So have a look at the betting, because John Wick was 6-1, from 7-1 into 6-1. So I don't know what Thani player will be reduced to, but when I took down the betting yesterday, it was 13-10. What you made the first run of Thani player? I remember we were having a bit of a chat about the game, Thani that is. And the horse was unfancied if you look at the odds. But that was a pleasing introduction, considering the amount of ground the individual made up over the final 400.
The first half of the race, Dees, was ugly to watch. He was nowhere. He was miles back, not travelling. There was almost a stage where I thought Samango Kamalo might even put his hands down and not persevere. And over the final 500 metres or so, Thani player took off. A few more strides, he actually wins the race. He was beaten by 3 parts of a length. I promise you, he gets awfully close to Copper Mist and Just Nuisance. Had he known more about it, that's probably all. Never mind get going in time. Just had to know a little bit more about it, so he'll be wiser. I'll tell you what I'm worried about with Thani player, and I'm bankering him, and I'm making a strong case for him winning. I'm very skeptical about how this form line's worked out thus far. I mean, 2 runners out of the form. Forster Dew ran an almighty stinker on Thursday at the Vaal. I thought he'd run a lot better, and then Golden Pavilion ran in a handicap as well on the same day and ran okay. I know the horse who ran just behind Thani player, Green Garnet's held in high regard by Mike de Kock. I think Copper Mist got something to come. The winner, Just Nuisance, ran second as just the winner in waiting. So I still think, although the form line doesn't look pretty now, I still think it'll work out okay as time goes on, but for now it does look a little bit shallow. But all in all, what I saw from Thani player first time out, over this course and distance, he'll be a hard horse to beat. Dennis Schwarz is on board. The mare Cavaleria, funny enough, is a half-sister to Sandringham Summit. So there's a little bit of random information for you. 11 Thani player, easily the best form on offer. The horses in this race don't look like they're going anywhere quickly. Improvement to come from number 3, Noble Metal. But I think this is a golden highway for number 11 Thani player to boost that form line despite the draw, and to kick on from run 1 to run 2 and potentially turn into quite a useful horse.
Well, that is it. You've given us the green light, Jeff. I like that. 6, John Wick is scratched. Have a look at the adjustments with the betting. But Alistair, big on Thani player. But slight concern, should I say, on the form line. But here's a horse that could certainly enhance that come Tuesday at Turffontein. 11, Thani player. Then on to the big one, the Pick 6. Race number 3, 1340, 1,600 meters the distance. And how they're betting here. Well, this is it, Alistair. Number 1, Fort Lauderdale at 11-2. 2, Bloomington at 9-2. 28-10. Robbie Sage's runner, Wood Gavin Arena, carrying 61 kgs. Number 3, Free Movement. Then we go on to number 8. By the way, 7 is a scratching, Robert Burns. 8, Eiffel Tower is 22-10. And 9, Vesuvio is at 8-1. And I got a jockey, or should I say an apprentice, for DJ Junior. It's Sosibo, who will claim 1.5 kgs. I'd like to begin with St. John Gray's runner, because This individual, from the 5 runs to date, those 2 wins have been good over 1,200 and 1,600 meters, versatile. And he just looks like a horse that's possibly going to achieve much higher than this 87 if he continues to mature and improve as a young 3-year-old.
I'm with you, Dees. I think he's seriously progressive, number 8, Eiffel Tower. The eye-catching part about Eiffel Tower here is that Richard Farid takes her out for St. John Gray. That's something I've not seen too often. I like the last run as well. He moved up nicely enough. House of Romanov just seemed to outrun him again over the closing stages. He ended up 3rd. I liked his win to Napoleon when coming from the back of the field, so that could be the way to do it for Eiffel Tower. Sit on him, bank on a pace. You should get a pace with a few horses in here who like to get forward. Might not be an out-and-out front runner, but I think there will be something to work with. And I think number 8, Eiffel Tower, could be dangerous. And the fact that he receives weight from most of the field could stand him in good stead. The horse that I like, I'm tipping him on top despite a heavy weight, is number 2, Bloomington. 4 of his 5 wins have come on the inside track. The yard's flying at the moment. Simangu Kamalo takes a ride. Simangu's flying at the moment. He gets the most out of Bloomington as well. I like that last run to Whispers of War, funny enough. I know that was on the inside track, which is his preferred course. Had a bit of a dicey draw, but he seemed to just stay on and hang around over the closing stages. And I'm always convinced that he's more of a force on the inside track than anywhere else, despite a recent win coming at the VAR when beating Nordic Rebel, who he reopposes. Even on the run to Purple Picture, he's got Nordic Rebel stone cold, despite Nordic Rebel having a 4-kilo claim. Free movement warrants some respect as well, Dees, although I think he's a bit of a tender horse as number 3, Free Movement, and that he needs all the luck in running. He needs everything to go his way. And then Vesuvio, obviously that last run was much improved, but he's got 10 3/4 lengths to turn around with Eiffel Tower, despite being 4 kilos better off. I don't think that's going to quite be enough. So for me, 2 and 8, and then also having an open highway for number 3 in the pick 6, Free Movement.
I like the thinking there. 2 and 8 for the place accumulator. I think that's where I'm reading it. Alistair mentioned he's given a bet for the day, but I like number 3 there for the pick 6. So I like those 3 runners. Alistair agrees. He's given us the seal of improvement. 2, 3, and 8 in numerical order. Let's see if we can get through those 3 horses. I think that will be a win. When I look at it, I promise you, I think even if Eiffel Tower wins the first leg of this pick 6, it will be paying more than 3 rand. Race number 4, 1,600 meters, fillies and mares, 76 handicap. And this race, I think we need some help here. I just couldn't make up my mind on where to go and which horses to narrow it down. In fact, I was thinking about including the field in the pick 6 because I like a horse later on as a banker, and I'm hoping Alistair can agree. But race number 4, 1,600 meters, number 2, 7-2, 3 at 7-1, 4 at 11-2, 6 is 7-1. 7's at 9-2, and then it is 8-1 with Anne with an E that won by an absolute street when shedding the maiden, and at Work Riders, Muzieni up 8-1. What you make of this race, Alistair? I've just written in big bold letters here, HELP.
I've just gone 3-year-olds here, Dees. I'm keen to know what your banker is later on. I've got a banker later on the card. I wonder if we're going to match up. I'm keen on the 3-year-olds. I don't know if this race is as tricky as it looks. My top selection is number 2, Colorado Creek, for a number of reasons. I was on the show with Raheel 12 days ago, going into the meeting at the VAR on the 19th of October when she opened up favourite, and there was a lot of talk for her. And I told Raheel, not in the race, can't have her. Move along. How's she going to go that trip coming off a layoff? And she actually ran better than I thought. Although it turned out to be, looked quite smart at the end of that, I still was impressed with the run, the way that she made up ground, etc., etc. Coming back in trip with that run under the belt, I think number 2, Colorado Creek's going to take a bit of a beating. The draw's obviously a blow. If she was drawn better, I just about bank her number 2, Colorado Creek, but I think she's a big player. Number 3 on the card, Little Miss Swagger. Her seasonal reappearance wasn't bad at all. She seemed to run a nice enough race. She's also got a bit of a dicey draw, but Gavin Larena takes her out for Fani Broncos. She's held in high regard. She was tested at grade 1 level. I think she's going to come on with another run under the belt and also be okay when she goes further, but I'd keep an open end for number 3, Little Miss Swagger. I think that she'll run well. And then this horse, number 7, My Lady Soul. You remember on day debut, D's. The money that came for her was mind-blowing. She ran second to Wilkies. It was inexperience in a sprint distance that caught her out. She subsequently did the job, although in unappealing fashion, beating Lorna Lily. Lorna Lily's finally out the maidens. And last time to Mrs. Geriatrics and White Pearl, I think you got to take those two out of it. Although White Pearl ran a good second in the Her Serene Highness Starling Stakes on Saturday. My Lady's Soul wasn't miles behind the third place horse, and I think coming to these calmer waters and going up in distance again might help number 7, My Lady Soul. So she could end up being the value in the race. And of all the horses, of all the 3-year-olds with a lighter weight, she's actually got a reasonable draw. I think the older runners are pretty much in their place. Run for Isla probably need the run despite Kachetti getting a tune out of her. And she'll probably be stretched over the distance. 4 Secret Recipe must have some sort of chance. Cashier Wazul's got a bit to do to turn it around with number 3, Little Miss Swagger. 6-3 strands, very, very difficult to catch. So might be worth chucking her into your pick 6 in the opening leg. But I'm comfortable with the 3-3-year-olds here. 2, 3 and 7. I think they'll go places where the other runners in this race haven't been.
2, 3 and 7 for Alistair. All I'm going to say in race number 4, Alistair, is I'm fully loaded in this race because there's 13 runners and I'm going to go the field here. Not taking any chances. Wait for that banker to arrive later on. But Alistair could be spot on if you're looking to restrict your spend at numbers 2, 3 and 7. I just want to touch on Cabello here, Alistair, because we watch racing on a daily basis and we see these young kids progress from when they start off, which is losing their claim 4, and how they continue their careers. And I think it was a big turning point. I know he's won a Hollywoodbets Durbanville, and he's always been a young kid that has a bright future. But I promise you, on what I saw on that ride on Main Defender on Saturday, if he's pointed in the right direction, and if he gets the guidance from whoever's taking care of him, I know he may have a team behind him, he may not, but if he's pointed in the right direction after that ride on Saturday, wow, it could be a wonderful season for him. That's Cabello.
Okay, so before I talk about Cabello, I just want to talk about that race. If there is a race as good as that this season, I don't want to miss it. That was absolutely spectacular. I loved calling that. I loved watching that. And I know punters did as well. With regard to Cabello, I mean, I've spent a lot of time with him. We're on the road together a lot. He writes a bit of work at Candace. So we've struck it up of late. I think the first thing that we need to mention is his former agent, Chris Santos, picked him up straight out of the academy and made the boy a man. As an apprentice, he looked good, well balanced, nicely mannered, and all of that. The wheels could have come off. They didn't. I think Chris had a lot to do with keeping him level-headed, improving him every day, forging relationships. You know how important that is for an agent and a jockey, and putting out fires when you need to. And then obviously the association with Brett Crawford and Joburg through James, that's helped Cabello to no end. Big trainer Sean Terry and Mike DeCock have no issue using him. He's there every morning riding work for plenty trainers, including the big ones. And subsequently, now that Monty has taken over Cabello's work and Cabello's agents, I mean, we know the job that Monty's done for Simango Kamalo over the last few years. It's onwards and upwards. Cabello's built a very, very good, successful, strong team around him, from former agents to his current agent to whoever will be next as well. So the kid's doing it right. He's got his head screwed on properly.
Yeah, I think he deserves a mention because it was a tremendous ride on that horse to win and get up. Race number 5, 1,600 meters, fillies and mares, 92 handicap. How are they betting here? Well, let's go with number 5, Magical Flight, at 7-1. Now it's tight, Alistair, from 7 through to 11. LMB, 9-2, number 7. 8, Soldier's Eye, at 6-1. 9, Key Element, 7-2. 10 is a 6-1 shot, and 11 at 5-1. I think I'd like to begin with number 11 because, she may be a very frustrating horse to follow if you've gone for her. But she hasn't done badly, or she doesn't let you down with poor runs. But, for a filly just lacking confidence to put her head in front, she has to be an obvious inclusion. And she's got a nice low weight here, 52.5 kgs. I know it's up in class, down in weight, but the fact is, this could be the smart move from the DeCock stable. Just take some weight off her back, and hopefully she runs better against stronger.
Now, Dees, you say that race 4 has you flummoxed. This race has me totally flummoxed. I changed my selection so many times in this race. I initially typed up a poem with 5 and 7 and 8 being in and leaving out number 9 and thinking about number 11, Sharapova. Do I go in with a horse that hasn't won in a while? Belvard coming up fresh. That also struck a chord with me. Terror Time, I've always got a bit of time for. But I've eventually settled down on 9 and 11, Key Elements and Sharapova. You spotted about Sharapova. Weirdly, although she's not as good as her grandmother, Mother Russia, and she will never scale those heights. She's actually got a similar type of profile as Mother Russia in that, remember, Mother Russia went through a stint of her life with Joey Ramsden where she just couldn't win either. Found that was at grade 1 and grade 2 level, whereas Sharapova obviously hasn't tested those waters and will probably be a few runs away of her rating of, a few wins away of her rating of 78 to test those waters. But similar profile in that, Sharapova just hasn't got that confidence boost, and maybe when she does, she'll go on and win a few. The fact that I put her into the place accumulator is solely based on the fact that she runs places all the time. She's not missed the top 3 in her career. Funny enough, you'll remember, I'm sure, last year she went down to Cape Town for the summer. She had a bad experience at the Pens, and maybe that just cost her being progressive in her career, and maybe that's just where the lack of confidence comes from. But the fact that she's consistent, the fact that she hasn't missed the first 3, you can't leave her out the plate accumulator. And there's a lot to like about number 9, Key Elements, as a racehorse. Paul Match and Pilasande, Oli, they've had a bit of a quiet spat after their insane start to the season. But this half-sister to Quasi for sure, won in good style last time, beating I Am Regal. I know the form's not that good, but she had the heart, the desire, the fortitude to see off her stable companion, who I think was undone by a bad draw on that occasion. And I know Paul Match has got hopes for number 9, Key Element, to become a feature race filly. So I think this will be a nice little test. And I'll step up in class, but with a generous rating, and well, what could be a generous rating, but certainly a generous weight on her back. Number 9, Key Elements is not one I'd let run loose, but there are lots in here with winning chances of these. In the pick 6, go with what you can.
Okay, we're going to do a skeleton perm. I'm just jotting down some numbers for the guys to possibly work around. How many horses would we include in the pick 6 along with your 2 selections, which I presume will be maybe 9 and 11? That's the way I'm reading it for you?
Yeah, 9 and 11 on my PA numbers. Dees, I know your rule. If it's more than half the field, go field.
Yes.
We're going field, brother.
Okay.
We're going field.
100%. We're multiplying that perm out by 11 at the time of recording. I'll just read that out to you at the end of the show. Then on to race number 6, 2,000 meters. Hollywoodbets. That's where we get our anti-post betting from. There is support for number 1, Green Light Magic, 4-1 into 3-1. Number 3, 8-1. Number 4, 7-1. 5, Viva Brazil at 9-2, 6 at 8-1. Wow, look at this betting. 10 is at 8-1, and 14 is at 8-1. Come on, help us out here. Surely we can go less than, let's do it 7 runners. We're not going to go 8. We have to go 7 runners on the head out of the 14 for the pick 6. Or maybe you can go less than that.
I think we can, Dees. I actually think we can. I just want to start with number 1, Green Light Magic, because you say there's been support. There are some victims with this horse. They've been burned with Green Light Magic. The tragedy is I can actually have him on this card. Muzieni takes a ride despite top weights and despite me thinking that he'll be more effective on a more galloping course than the inside track. I can have him. 31st of May, 16-1 to 13-2. It was huge money for him again. When was it? It was last time out, 20-1 to 5-1 on the 19th of October. He went close to Dungeons. So there have been some that have been burnt by number 1, Green Light Magic. Anyway, pick 6 numbers: 1, 3, 4, 5, 1, 3, 4, 5, 8, and 12.
Lovely.
1, 3, 4, 5, 8, 12. And we can put in 10 Brotherhood of Magic. That takes us to 7. Happy with that. My PA numbers: 5, Viva Brazil, stepping up a distance. Progressive, I know, held by number 1, Green Light Magic, but I think that he'll get very, very close to him this time around. Craig Zaki, Lucky Hudalakis, David Shaw cleaned up with 2 feature race winners with Dice and Egyptian Mao on Saturday, so no reason to doubt the form of the yard and the performance of horses. I've got a lot of time for this full brother to Viva Rio, who of course was placed in the Cape Guineas in 2019. So 5, Viva Brazil, progressive, big runner. 10 Brotherhood of Magic, cut from the same cloth. Out of that run to Dungeons, not much between them. He had an awkward draw last time out, probably had to make too much use of it. So I think with things going better for number 10 Brotherhood of Magic, a player. And then number 12 Skyfall. I've gone with Skyfall mainly because I said to myself after her last run that next time she runs, I'm going to put her in wherever she goes. I would have actually preferred a slightly calmer race than this, but she's got 52.5 kilos on her back. She caught my eye last time with staying on. That was obviously behind Parker Gettrick, so she's back against boys and with the light weight and just simply on what I saw. I'm going with the eye more than instinct with number 12 Skyfall. So those are my PA numbers, 5, 10 and 12. 7 horses in the pick 6, and still I've got a banker to come.
Yep, there I've jotted down Alistair's numbers. I'll write them down. And then on to race number 7. And this is it. 1,200 meters, novice handicap. Number 1, Cullinan Blue is a scratching. 3, 20 to 1, 4, 4 to 1, 5, 5 to 1, 6, 7 to 2, 7, 7 to 2. And then it is double figures the balance. This is it, Alistair. Hoping we're in the same camp, the same corner, singing off the same hymn sheet. I'll tell you what, Darlan's got a few horses with Fabian, most of them in shares with the Nassifs and, of course, Marlin, Nika. And, this weekend we all know how confident they were with that horse, Zeus. And it was said that it will continue into the week and it will begin in this race with number 7 Fully Loaded. So beside what we read off the page and whatever form guide you're using, I can tell you that there's very much, confidence coming through from the yard on this horse being very hard to beat on Tuesday, and generously priced up, I would suspect now, at 7 to 2. What you make of this horse, Fully Loaded? Is this the banker?
This is the banker, D. 7 to 2 is a gift. It's an absolute gift. They got blinkers on, not for the first time. They didn't backfire the first time they used blinkers, and the tongue tie goes on. If the tongue tie doesn't backfire, I don't want to know about number 7 Fully Loaded. Like I said, I think it's a gift. Pontiac I have a bit of respect for, but coming back from a long break of 4 months, I think he might just need the run, and he's also qualified to run on Thursday. So I think that shows Johan Janse van Vuren sort of a bit indecisive of where he needs to go. Fully Loaded last time over 1,400 meters was my top choice, but I didn't know how he was going to fare over the trip, and he ran on very nicely. Gavin Larena rode him for luck. I don't know if luck was on his side. He made up a ton of ground. He's got draw 1, yards in form. Jockey's on form. The son of Pomodoro, very, very hard to fault on what he's been putting together of late. He's probably overachieved to a level in that when he won his maiden, he would have been forgiven for thinking that might be close to the end of the road, but he's maintained a level of form that's admirable. He stays off the same rating. He's, funny enough, not run on the inside track, and I think this could be the right place for him because he does have a turn of foot, as demonstrated last time, and if you have a turn of foot on the inside track at Turffontein, that's a weapon that can propel horses to victory. I'm very keen on number 7 Fully Loaded. He's done me a few favours throughout his career. When he runs badly, I tend to go cold on him, so I think I've got a good read on the son of Pomodoro, and I think win number 2 is on the horizon here, Dees. And also the fact that there are a lot of disclaimers with horses. For example, French Impact, I'm surprised to see him so short in the market. He's got an almighty problem with fighting in the early stages. That doesn't seem to be curbed anytime soon. Copper John, I think, will be effective over further. Var Park's last couple of runs just aren't good enough. Twice as wild, I suppose, warrants some sort of respect. But the others just have chinks in their armour that Fully Loaded doesn't have.
All I can say, Alistair, is I like it. I like it a lot. Race number 7, horse number 7, Fully Loaded. And just to add to Alistair's confidence there, go and pull out the form line and you'll see a certain Dungeons that was mentioned earlier on in the show come out to win from that form line behind Whirly Whirly. So we got the bank up. Now on to race number 8. 1,200 meters, merit rate at 72 handicap. Number 1 at 5 to 1. 2 at 7 to 1, 3 at 7 to 2, 8 is a 7 to 1 shot, and then we got number 9 at 5 to 1, of course, this betting from Hollywoodbets. I'm just going to try and give you a guide on what's happening. Leg number 1, we've gone 238. Leg number 2, we've gone 237. So that is 9. Then leg number 3, we've included the field. So that becomes 99. Leg 4, we've gone 1, 3, 4, 5, 8, 10, and 12, giving us 7 runners there. So we multiply 99 by 7. That'll give us 693. That is our mark. That is where we're standing at, 693 with the banker fully loaded. How many horses at the back?
2 horses in my PA, and I'm debating whether we need 3 here, D's. So the 2 horses in my PA, 7 and 9, jot those down. After hours, long overdue. It's hard to fault him. Richard Ferry takes a ride. Good draw. He is what he is. If he wins, he wins. If he doesn't, he'll go close. So that's the story with number 7 after hours. Number 9, Life Goes On, goes in because there's no yard in the country that is performing at the capacity that Clinton Binder is at the moment. Whether it's Durban or whether it's Joburg, they are winning left, right and centre. The handicapper has not got a grasp on number 9, Life Goes On. He must wake up every morning and say, there's another Binder horse that's defied a £6 penalty. Binder does come alive this time of year, but not like this. Not like this at all. So number 9, Life Goes On, bang there. And if you go into that last run, Life Goes On, finished in front of Brosnan and Viva de Janeiro. Strictly at the weights, Brosnan could turn it around, but I think Brosnan stretches over 1,200 meters. I think he'll be under a bit of pressure over the final 100, and also that weight, that turnaround is made a little bit easier by Trent Mayhew's 4-kilo claim. So those are my 2 horses, 7 and 9, non-negotiables. The other horse that I'm keen on here, when I say keen on, I don't want to let run loose because I did last time and I got burnt. Number 5, Circus Lights. But sadly with Circus Lights, he's got a terrible history of refusing to jump or giving away too much ground at the start. Last time he was slow away and he still won. He beat Inafix. I don't really want to be this damning of the form, but he beat an average field last time out. But the point is he jumped over this, or rather at this course, over 200 meters less. If he comes out just a step slow, I think we saw last time how effective he can still be. So number 5, Circus Lights, I don't want to leave out just because he burnt me last time out. The other, this is just a quartet inclusion. I don't know about the pick 6 because he has a bad draw. Sam the Wise Man, if he was drawn in the first half of the field, he would go into the pick 6. The draw worries me, so I'm going to leave him out of the pick 6, but I'm going to put him into trifectas and quartets. Hopefully he can run to the first 4 and make things pay. So 7 and 9, thumbs up from me. 5 just because. And if you like something, let's put it in as well.
No, I'm going with your numbers. So how many numbers are we going with the pick 6 there?
I'm going to go 3 then, 5, 7 and 9. But 5, like I said, is just more instinct and frustration than anything else.
I like it, 2,079 Rand. I just want to add to your comments about Clinton Binder. Because, you can add to that it's not new stock, or it's not young horses. It's horses that we've seen in seasons go by that are now just absolutely flying. I think that's where he needs to be complimented because, you can possibly know that horses are in their place and how much more there is to work with. Are they going to win a few more races? It's these older horses that are flying, Alistair.
Well, Whirly, just a case in point.
That's it.
That horse's age is still more than you and I combined. He's done an unbelievable job with him, and as you say, there are many others. And Clinton is normally just on the other side of the spectrum, quite quick to the draw with his 2-year-olds. I believe that there are quite a lot of 3-year-olds at his yard that haven't even raced yet. So it shows the patience that he's now trading with. He runs an operation out near Lanseria Airport, right by Blair Athol Golf Course that you'll know quite well. That's where his farm is situated. And, not having the luxury of grass, I mean, he does bring his horses to Turffontein once a week to give them grass and to pass them through the starting stalls, what have you. It's not easy being alone. It obviously comes with its perks as well, that you buy yourself. You don't have to worry about sort of sick horses coming into someone else's yard, into your neighbour's yard, that it compromises you, or worrying about various grooms from other yards that might hang around, or whatever the case may be. But you're spot on. Take all of his horses. Yes, he does come well this time of year, but all of his horses, whether they're the 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, or 10-year-olds, they're just an unbelievable heart at the moment. He's on to a good thing. The travelling up and down, that's another factor. He's not afraid to put them on the float, take them down to KZN, to Hollywoodbets Greyville, Hollywoodbets Scottsville. If there's money to be made and races to be won, at the moment, they're making that money and they're winning their races.
Yeah, he is on a good thing, as Alistair mentioned, and how long can you keep the recipe going? That is the secret to ultimate success in this game. But this pick six, I'm going to read it out before Alistair gives his PA. 238 by 237 by the field, multiplied by 11 at the time of recording, by 1, 3, 4, 5, 8, 10, and 12, by 7 a banker. Yes, that is fully loaded. And the last leg, we're going 5, 7, and 9. That spend will be 210 Rand. We'll give you 10%. Alistair, your place accumulator?
Yep, that starts at 1:05 on this 8-race card. So I've opened up with banker number 11, Dunny Player. Excuse me. By 2 and 8, Bloomington and Eiffel Tower. By the same numbers in the pick 6, so 2, 3, and 7, Colorado Creek, Little Miss Swagger, and My Lady Soul. Then in race 5, I've got 9 and 11. Not uncomfortable with that because of Sharapova's consistency and key elements progress to be made. But if punters do like something else, they put it in. Then race 6, I've got 5, 10, and 12. So Viva Brazil, Brotherhood of Magic, and Skyfall. By banker number 7, fully loaded. By 7 and 9, After Hours, and Life Goes On.
Well, the boys said I have to ask you, Alistair, before we close. They're missing Mkhabisi. Where's he?
In Tabisi, he's sleeping. It's freezing cold. He's under the covers. He's having a great morning, living a life of Riley, and he's got nothing to shout about today. He's got no offering on this card at Turffontein. He hasn't had a look.
Okay, Alistair, thanks as always for your time and for the effort that you put in the card. Hopefully everything goes according to plan. I'll be playing this pick 6 as well. I've actually made up my mind that I'm going to be playing it for 20% because, you know what, number 7 fully loaded is going to be part of all our plays, but I'm going 20%. That's 420 Rand. That is what I'll be playing that pick 6 for. Thanks a lot for your time, Alistair, and have a blast throughout the week.
Thank you so much, Dees. Yep, I'll be sending an e-wallet of another 20% so we can take it 40%.
100%. I think we're on. Okay, racing fans, have a blast. Find all the winners, and hopefully it turns out to be a wonderful week for you wherever you'll be racing on the South African racing calendar or around the globe. For Alistair Cohen, Gallop TV, and myself, Dees Dynan, until we meet again, you take care. Salani Gase.